Hello and welcome. Before we dive in, a special thank you to Mr. Winston Hu. His insights into industry trends really sparked this entire discussion. We're all hearing this massive hype about AI just completely replacing coders. But coming at this from a practical standpoint, where correctness and safety are everything, I think we need a serious reality check.
And that's where I come in, looking at the incredible future that's unfolding with AI agents and orchestration. So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to ground ourselves in what AI can actually do with text-to-SQL right now. Then, we'll debate the new roles of SQL and Python, get real about the career crisis this is causing, and finally, lay out your new mission, becoming a data architect.
Exactly. For years, the promise has been, just chat with your data. Simple, right? But the reality is so much more complicated. And honestly, if you're not careful, the results can be dangerously wrong in ways you won't even notice. Let's look at the actual numbers.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Every piece of marketing material out there seems to suggest that SQL is a dying language. But when you get down to the engineering nuts and bolts, a completely different story emerges.
Okay, let's break this down because it's so important. On the left, you've got the spider benchmark. This is like a clean, perfect academic lab with just a handful of tables. Here, AI looks like a genius, scoring over 90%. But then look to the right, the bird benchmark. This mimics a real, messy enterprise database with hundreds of tables and thousands of columns. And that's where the accuracy just takes a nosedive. And that number, 81.95%, you might think, hey, that's a B-, not so bad. But in data analytics, an 18% error rate is an absolute catastrophe. It happens because of something called context saturation, or the lost in the middle problem. The AI literally gets overwhelmed by all the data, loses track, and starts making up answers. These are silent, expensive failures. So what does this all mean for SQL? Well, it's not dying, not even close. Its role is evolving. Think of it less like a language you write by hand anymore and more like the new machine code, the fundamental, reliable instruction set that these advanced AI systems target. Let me be blunt here. If you try to run Python's pandas library on a petabyte of data, it will crash. Instantly. It's just not built for that scale. SQL, on the other hand, is. It's deterministic and idempotent, which is really just a technical way of saying you get the exact same correct result every single time. That rock-solid reliability is why it's becoming the perfect compilation target for AI.
And this is where we're seeing the next step in that evolution. New languages like Malloy are popping up to act as a safer layer between the AI and the raw SQL. You can predefine your business logic, creating guardrails for the AI. It generates this cleaner, more abstract Malloy code, which then gets compiled into hyper-optimized SQL. It's about making the process less error-prone from the start.
Okay, SQL is a powerful engine. I'll give you that. But that's all it is. The engine. The real intelligence, the thinking, the planning, the reasoning. That's all happening in Python. Python is becoming the new brain, the new operating system for this entire data stack.
And you can see this with frameworks like LangGraph. We are moving way beyond simple, linear scripts that just run from top to bottom. With LangGraph, you're building a stateful team of specialized AI agents. They can collaborate, remember what happened before, and even loop back to correct mistakes, almost like a human project team tackling a complex problem.
Here's how a workflow like this actually works. First, a planner agent takes a big, messy request and breaks it down into smaller, manageable subtasks. Then, an executor agent takes a task and calls the right tool for the job, like running a SQL query. And then, and this is the really cool part, a critic agent reviews the result, checks it for flaws, and decides what the next move should be, all orchestrated in Python. But this incredible new power has a very real and very immediate impact on people's careers. We have to talk about this. All this automation of basic tasks, it's hitting entry-level jobs the hardest. It's hollowing out that traditional first step on the career ladder.
And the data on this is pretty stark. We are seeing a significant double-digit drop in junior analyst job postings. That classic role, the one where you just take a business question and write a straightforward SQL query, that job is disappearing fast. The on-ramp to a career in data is fundamentally changing.
And what that means is that your skills have to evolve right now. You're shifting from being a code writer to a code auditor. Your value no longer comes from spending hours crafting a query from a blank screen. It comes from your ability to instantly review AI-generated code and spot the subtle logical flaws the machine misses. This human-in-the-loop validation is becoming your most critical function.
So where do we go from here? It's not about just writing code faster.
It's about thinking bigger, about being a designer. Your role isn't being eliminated, it's being elevated into something much more strategic and much more powerful: the data product architect. I couldn't agree more. This quote just nails the entire shift. You're not a passive data miner anymore, just digging up answers to questions. You are now an active commander, designing the intelligent systems and commanding an army of AI agents to go out and find insights for the whole company. So this is your new toolkit. First, you have to be a world-class code auditor, that final human-in-the-loop defense. Second, you need to master the semantic layer. That's like creating the official dictionary so the AI understands your business's unique language. Third, you become an agent engineer, designing these smart workflows with tools like LangGraph. And finally, the most important one, your deep domain expertise. That is the one moat AI simply cannot cross by reading a few documents. So when you put it all together, you get this new, powerful partnership. SQL is the solid, reliable foundation. Python is the intelligent brain orchestrating everything. And you, the human, are the architect, providing the vision, the design, and crucially, the safety guardrails to protect data and control access.
Which leaves us with the final question, really, for you. The tools are changing at a dizzying pace. The future belongs to the designers, not just the writers. The question is, are you ready to make that shift and become an architect?
That's what it all comes down to. And with that, we want to give one final, sincere thank you to Mr. Winston Hu for his vision in bringing this topic to light. Thanks for joining us.